Back everyone, this is John from My Small Business Blueprint. We're welcoming Birdie Brennan from Birdie Brennan Professional Organizers back. Thank you again, Birdie.
Thanks for having me.
So last time we dealt with some of the more current paper issues that we have. We walk into the house, we toss it down, we go do something else, and that stack just continues to grow and grow. But we also have to address the long-term paper issues that we have, whether it's bills that might be coming in or some of the more tax-ready stuff that we need to worry about for next tax season. So what are some of the issues that you have with the long-term ramifications of paper?
First of all, paper being the number one problem, you have to be brutal with it. Statistically, I think 80% of the paper you keep, you never ever look at again.
Oh, wow.
So let it go.
Okay.
Getting rid of anything that you don't need and being realistic. Can you find it somewhere else? Google. And it's a huge resource.
Right. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's easier to go to your computer, punch something in, than to look through a stack of papers for some information bit that you got, 3 years ago. So let go of as much as you can.
So when you say use Google or use technology, are you talking about for some of the accounts that we have, or is this just information that might be coming in or leaving?
Well, both.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, they gather that information. They just love information. That they're keeping magazines because there's one good article, or they found a tip to how to clean a shower door, and they're keeping that.
Okay.
But when you keep everything, when everything has value, then nothing has value. You can't find what you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So being really brutal. Those papers that you do need to keep, well, first of all, being brutal, I say ask yourself some questions. What's the worst thing that could happen if you didn't have that piece of paper? If it's not so bad, let it go.
Okay.
If you do find you need it, you want to have categories again, and your papers determine those categories. I just gather up all those loose papers, all the piles, get in your nightstand, everywhere. Bring all the papers together and look at them one at a time. And the top one, make a decision. And you're keeping it, so you're putting it in a pile, and you're making some note, a post-it note, a keyword, that being organized isn't about getting everything put away, it's about being able to find it when you need it. So that keyword is what you need, what you will think of when you want to find that piece of paper.
Okay. I never really thought of it that way, right? I mean, you always think of organization as these nice 90-degree piles on a desk, but it's more emotional, more mental is what you're talking about.
It's finding what you need when you need it.
Okay.
So your papers are going to give you your categories. When you have them all separated out and you have these piles, my key is you don't want any more than 20, 25 pieces of paper in a pile.
Oh.
So if you have a tall pile, you want to go through it again and make the titles more specific, because it's about finding it. So if you have more than 25, that's too much.
Okay.
There again, if you have one piece of paper that it's its own category, can you make that title broader and incorporate it into another one? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
So for an example, we have dentist bills, and we have medical bills, and we have anesthesia and all these other things. Do you normally find that it's best to put all those in one type of folder, or to separate them out by the actual service?
If they all would go together and not be more than 25,
so that's
one folder.
Okay. Well, very good.
Once you hit more, then you divide it out.
All right. Now, we're talking more about the long-term issues of these things. So if I get a medical bill and I even pay that medical bill, how long do I keep that paper inside that folder? You talk about the 25 being the magical number. If that's 6 months ago, do I get rid of that bill at that point in time? How do I kind of deal with the longevity issue?
I like you not to have to think about it all the time. So for people that have like normal medical bills, you might have a current year and a past year.
Okay.
So that when you get the bill is paid and it's done, it's reconciled, you can drop it into the current year.
Okay.
And that way, if you happen to need it for taxes, you've got it.
All right.
But then at the start of the next year, and you've got a new year, you don't have to think about it. As long as it doesn't support taxes, you didn't claim it, it doesn't support taxes.
Right.
You take that prior year, you dump it, you shred it, you move the current year back to the
Right.
prior year, and you're all set to go.
Okay.
So it's about not making decisions.
So let's transition to taxes now. So you're
Okay.
supposed to keep tax information for how long?
The most I've heard from an accountant is 7 years.
7 years.
But I'm not the accountant. So I can set up great files.
Okay.
And I can help it be a self-cleaning system so that
Okay.
you don't have to think about things. But for clients' comfort levels, they need to check with their accountant.
Okay, so just as we transition some of the current medical bills we have to the past year, are you saying that we follow that same process for tax information?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like you would have, for me, I would have the 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put in the new year, I'm gonna take out the old, I'm gonna shred it, and it's just always self-maintaining. I don't
Okay.
have to think about it.
Now let's talk about the storage concept of old tax information. Are we using something like this, or are we using something that's more protective, more secretive of our information, whatever that might be?
Every client is different. You have some people that have taxes, and they would fit in this file.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have some people that taxes would fit in a banker's box
Right. Yeah.
per year.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on your quantity.
Okay.
If you have a little amount that you can have, one drawer in a filing cabinet in the basement, that works.
That works. Okay.
If you have a lot, then I do that instead of 7 files, 7 boxes.
Okay.
And you just always have those 7 boxes.
All right. Well, very good. Well, I want to thank Birdie Brennan again for helping us transition from current paper problems to some of our more long-term paper problems. And if you ever have any questions, we can check you out at Get Organized Columbus.
GetOrganizedColumbus.com.
Wonderful. Thanks for your time, Birdie.
Thank you.